What's up everybody, it's Dave here with Oberk Car Care, and today we have this extra special project. We've got a 1974
Honda Civic restored as an RS.
And some would consider this the first Type R that Honda ever made. This specific car actually came from the UK, and my friend Scott over at King Motorsports recently imported it to add to their collection over there. This car is very unique, and it actually has some really cool history. It's been restored years ago with some single stage paint in the original sunset orange. The person that restored this car is a well-known painter and did a really good job, but this car has actually had plenty of years of being wiped down and just overall age in general. The car is extremely well taken care of and restored, and we are going to be doing a polish restoration or preservation to bring the finish back, get rid of the swirls and scratches, as well as do some additional detailing. Tomo Chiba, one of the designers from Honda, has actually signed the inside of this car.
And this is actually the oldest Honda Civic in the UK.
This car is really neat. I'm excited to get going and detail this car. I'm hoping that you guys can have fun watching as we go and possibly learn something along the way. We've got a number of challenges that we're going to be working with as we go through it. We're going to try to polish this car with the least invasive methods.
And we've already tossed on a paint metering gauge or paint thickness gauge and found varying thickness throughout the vehicle, which is common for a restored paint job. Let's get this thing started.
So I said earlier that there was 20,000 of these vehicles produced, but the thing about these cars is the first generation of Honda Civics were notorious for rusting in less than 3 years. So pretty much anywhere in the northern states, anywhere that had snow, essentially, these vehicles didn't last more than 3 years. So a lot of these 20,000 vehicles didn't survive very long at all. So to find one still around today, they're extremely rare to begin with. They're extremely rare now, and this vehicle needs to be taken care of in that way. So we want to preserve the single stage refinish job that was done to this car.
The RS in Civic RS standard for road sailing, and the original Civic came with a 1.2 liter and a 4-speed transmission, but the RS came with a 1.4 liter and a 5-speed manual transmission. The Honda Civic started in 1972, but the RS started in 1974 and was only available in Japan. Seeing that it is part of the King Motorsports collection, it's obviously far from stock. This car has a 1.4 liter engine that is fully built, but it's actually not from the Civic RS. In the early 80s, Honda designed an engine that was used in the Triumph Acclaim. This engine was a little bit bigger, same displacement, but a little bit more power. Add a Mugen valve cover and some cool bolt-ons, and here you go. It's got some really cool 13-inch braid wheels with the Honda center caps, as well as a flawless interior, and it's even got a little model of the car itself.
It's got BC coilovers to keep it grounded and have it perform well with the nice wheels and tires. It was not reupholstered or redone. You can tell that it's 100% factory. One of the cool things I love about these cars is the rear wing windows. They remind me of some of the older BMWs, and kind of like one of the things I always wanted when I had a Honda CRX. I always thought it'd be the coolest thing if the wing windows opened up like an old M3 coupe. Now the paint on this car is actually really nice, but it has had years of being wiped down as well as being used. So some of the horizontal surfaces like the roof and the hood have a lot more defects than the vertical surfaces like the doors and the fenders and the quarter panels. We're going to spend a little bit more time on the roof and on the fenders. We obviously need to finish this thing out the best that we can, being that it's single stage. Because it doesn't have a clear coat, there's not a lot of depth to it. So micromarring and hazing is something that's always a concern when polishing single stage. It's very challenging to do a one-step polish and achieve any level of correction and still get the clarity that you need. In fact, some single stage paints don't even polish well with a DA polisher and ultimately need to be polished with a rotary to get the ultimate clarity that you want. So I've already done the initial test spot utilizing the yellow pad with our Oberk sole, and this removed a majority of the defects except some of our heavier scratches and swirls that we aren't going to be chasing on this car. So I've got this car all fully washed, and before I get ahead of myself, let's clay all the surfaces down, make sure it's completely prepped and ready to polish. We're going to go through and scrub the rubber seals around the windows and all around the trim utilizing Oberk tire, rubber, and plastic cleaner, get everything looking right. We're going to tape everything off and get into our paint correction process. After getting the car taped off and clay barred down, I started to get polishing, but quickly realized that I need to remove the bumpers. These bumpers are extremely easy to remove. They have about 4 bolts, leg style bolts that go around the front and 4 in the rear. So it takes about 10-15 minutes if you're moving slow to make sure you don't damage anything to remove them. So it's extremely easy. So we pulled these off, had a chance to polish behind those bumpers and into the panels where you can see where they come up to them, and went ahead and polished the tailpipe at the same time while I was down there. Now that we've moved on to the wheels, we are going to use a prototype product that we've actually been working on a really long time. We've got 3 different grades of aircraft grade aluminum polish that we'll be releasing at some point, but we are going to use this prototype product to polish up the lips on these Baird wheels.
Well, now that we got that taken care of, let's jump back to this paint correction and get this thing done. There's actually a lot of small and tight areas on this car. Even though this car is really, really small, it's got a lot of tight trim around the windows, inside the engine bay, and all over. I mean, even the interior of this car is painted on almost every panel. We finished up polishing the interior panels, and then we jumped back to the exterior. Once we got everything polished on the exterior of the car, we wanted to jump into the engine bay, make sure that we corrected underneath the hood, around the strut towers, and anywhere that the paint was really, really visible. We did end up doing a lot more microfiber cutting on the exterior of this car than we anticipated, because after I spent a little bit of time, I just felt a little bit more comfortable and I was willing to push my luck a little bit more, knowing that the paint was a little bit harder. So we pulled out the adaptive light and took a look. If you remember what the horizontal surfaces looked like, they were pretty scratched. We did a little bit more correction work on this, like I said before. We did a microfiber cutting step, which removed almost all the defects and left a nice haze. Then we followed up with our one-step sole, which is exactly what we did on the rest of the car, but we still needed to follow up with our finish polishing step. Now that the exterior is all complete, we can put the bumpers back on. Before we do that, we want to clean everything out completely, and we ceramic coated them inside and out. Putting them back on, it's just as easy as it was taking them off. It's 4 bolts, tighten them down good. Make sure all the bolts and everything is nice and clean, and then we are ready to take a look at what we've got going on. This thing looks so good. We've only got a couple things to finish up before the night's over, and I can't wait to see it in the daylight tomorrow. All we got to do now is remove the sticker that's over the signature and apply some paint protection film. So it was pretty much just like a piece of masking tape that had been laid over the signature. I just peeled really slowly before I tried anything with steam or heat or anything else. And if I pulled really slow, it was actually coming off without really leaving much adhesive. So I just did that really slow, pulled off that factory Honda sticker and then the vintage Culture sticker as well, and got it all ready. We had to be really careful though, because there was some adhesive, as you can see up in that corner. I had to clean all of that stuff off without touching any of the signature. And then we also needed to prep the paint and get it ready and clean for the paint protection film to get installed. The film turned out great, and we only had one last thing to do. We needed to clean the windows and get ready to check it out tomorrow.
All right, well, I'm all finished. I've been working nonstop on this car for the last 4 days. I've got a ton of hours into it. Obviously, we just went over the exterior and a couple little bits here and there, but you know, essentially we went over almost every inch of this car. The only thing we didn't do is really do a full wheels off. I have a feeling that these wheels are gonna eventually get refinished, and we're probably gonna do a separate video where we do a full dry ice blast on the underside of the car and kind of clean up a few things here and there. But we cleaned up the engine bay, we polished some of the painted parts inside the bay. We cleaned the interior, we polished the painted parts in the interior, we sealed everything on the inside, we coated everything on the outside. We polished the lips of the wheels, the tailpipes. I'm so excited to pull this out. It's really late, it's about 12:30, 12:45 in the morning. So we're gonna pull this thing out in the morning and show you all the work that's gone into it over the last 4 days. If you want to find out more about any of the products that we used in the video, there's going to be links in the description below to all the different things that we used, including the lights, the polishes, all that stuff. If you want to learn more about Oberk Car Care, check us out at oberkcarcare.com. Check out our social media, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all Oberk Car Care, and we'll see you next time.
Paint on this thing looks so good outside. just get a chance to do a full walk around, just kind of absorb it all, look at it, make sure everything looks right, that we didn't miss anything, and then we're gonna back it out. If you like this video, make sure you give us a like, subscribe to our channel. If you didn't like it or you have something to say, make sure you make a comment down below. Follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, pretty much everywhere you can find us at Oberk Car Care. Again, all of the products that we use in this video are going to be in the description. If you want to find out about great Mugen or Honda performance parts, make sure you check out kingmotorsports.com. They are the leader in Honda sports racing, and they have been since the 70s. Go check them out, kingmotorsports.com. Thanks everybody again for tuning in. Make sure you check out our next video and make sure you subscribe.